3DCoat Textura is a texturing program that costs €119 or about $130 USD for a permanent license, or €11 or about $12 USD for a monthly rental. You can use it for a free 30-day trial before purchase. The company often runs discounted specials, so keep an eye out for sales. There is a link in the description to download 3DCoat Textura. Let's start by quickly looking at 3DCoat Textura's interface and navigation. When you first open Textura, you'll see a quick menu with information about the software, as well as the ability to open a recent project. Across the top, you'll see the standard menu option, plus options for depth, smoothing, etc. You also have access to all your brush settings. Along the left side, you have access to the color palette and the brushes. If you hover over each brush, you'll see some information about that brush as well as a tutorial video link. On the right side, you can access your brush alphas, brush options, and color palette. Below your brush options, you'll see your materials panel and material options. Lastly, on the bottom, you'll have access to your layers and layer options. For this tutorial, I'll be using a model from Sketchfab. The link is in the description. Now note this downloads as a RAR file, so you'll need to convert it to FBX or OBJ. You can search for free converters online. To import a model, go to the File menu and then Import, and Model for per pixel painting. You will then be greeted with import options. For the normal map option, you have multiple choices. I'll choose Blender. Subdivision allows you to subdivide the mesh before importing. I'll just leave this as no subdivision. You can either keep the UV map that comes with the mesh, or you can auto map the mesh. I'll just keep the UV. For smoothing, you have multiple options depending on how you want smoothing to affect the mesh. I'll just choose no smoothing. Just for time, I won't be going over all the options. If you hover over each option, you'll see further information. Keep treat materials as separate textures ticked. You can change the UV set name, and you can change the UV scale. I'm going to keep it at 2K. Once you have the model imported, you can zoom in and out using the Alt and right mouse button. Moving the mouse away from you will zoom out, and moving the mouse towards you will zoom in. Alt left mouse button allows you to easily pan around the model. Alt middle mouse button allows you to move the model in space from your current point of view. You can use the numpad keys to snap to a specific view of the model, or use the camera view in the upper right of the viewport. Before you begin texturing, go to the Textures menu and choose Calculate Occlusion and Calculate Curvature. For this tutorial, just leave the options at default. You'll now see two locked layers added to the stack. The cavity map is automatically hidden to make it easier when texturing. If you open the Texture UV editor, which is located under the Textures menu, you can view your UV map. You can add a new layer using the icon at the bottom of the layer stack, and use the arrow icons to move the layer within the layer stack. Double-clicking on the layer allows you to rename the layer. You can change the color using the color palette and selecting a brush. Now you can simply change the radius of the brush in the menu and paint directly onto the model. You can also use the open and close brackets to change the radius of the brush. Notice there is depth to this process because of the depth channel. If you use Ctrl-Z to undo the painting, you can change the depth strength in the brush option at the top of the viewport. These same options can be accessed by using the tilde key. If you change the fall-off, smoothing, and opacity options, you can see how each will affect the brush and how it textures the model. Notice that whatever you do on the model, you can see in the Texture UV editor. You are also able to paint in the Texture UV editor on the UV map, and it will show up on the model itself. Under the Smart Materials tab, you'll find various groups of materials available to you. If you want to use a plastic material for the model, choose the Plastic tab and select a material. You will see a Smart Material preview, which allows you to see what the material will look like on the model. Once you have your material selected, you can click on the icon in the upper right corner of the preview to close it. You can use the left mouse button to move it out of your way. You can hold down the left mouse button and paint on the material. You can also choose the fill option to fill the entire model. Now note, if your model has different materials already set up before importing, you can fill each different material individually. For example, you can click on the bottom of the model with one material and the top of the model with a separate material. If you want to make changes to the material, double-click on it to open it, and you'll have access to the Smart Material Editor. You can save this as a new material. You will also have access to a large library of PBR materials through the PBR library. The link is in the description. On the site, you can look for a material you want to use and download it. Save your project because once you install the material, you'll need to restart Textura. To install the new material, go to the File menu, then Install, and then Install Extension. You can install multiple materials at once. When you restart Textura and go to your Smart Material tab, you can see your new material. To delete any material, simply right-click on the material and choose Delete. You can also use stencils or alphas to make further changes to the model. If you don't want the foreground color to affect the decal, right-click on it to deactivate it. If you don't want your material to influence the stencil, click on a blank area of the Smart Materials panel to deselect the material. You can choose the brush option and choose one of the stencils from the multiple tabs that come with Textura. For example, you could choose cracks and then select one of the stencils. Using a negative depth will allow you to stamp into the mesh. Using the E key, you can bring up options for using the stencil. I prefer using the stamp mode, which allows me to click and drag the stencil while also holding down the left mouse button to rotate the stencil. You can find more stencils under the brush type in the PBR library. To install the stencil, select the proper group and then click on the plus icon. You'll have the option to open texture files. You can download or make your own stencils and bring them in the same way. I have a video tutorial showing you how to make sculpting alphas, which is the same process for making stencils for Textura. The link is in the description. To delete any stencil, simply right-click on the stencil and choose Delete. You can also apply decals to your model. Add a new layer. Make sure you have the brush option selected and the color palette disabled, unless you want the color to affect the decal. Under the Brushes panel, you can import your decal just like you imported the stencil. Use the E key to bring up options for using the decal. Select your preferred means of applying the decal. Now, hand painting is also an option for 3DCoat Textura. If you want a separate tutorial for hand painting, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you enjoyed this video about using 3DCoat Textura for texturing, then you're probably interested in 3D modeling or texture art. So if you're interested in those topics, you may enjoy this video. Have a good day.